Hello everyone, my name is Zoe. I am from BMA and I'm currently in my year 1 Sem 3. So, have you ever walked into a restaurant, seen a really long queue, and immediately thought, maybe I'll just eat somewhere else lah? But sometimes, you decide to stay, and then the questions start. How long am I going to wait? 10 minutes? 20 minutes? Or even an hour? And while you're waiting, you're basically stuck in one place. Like you're stuck outside the restaurant, you're sitting outside, watching the queue and hoping it moves. So today, I want to ask you one simple question. What if waiting didn't mean standing still? The question is, what led us to dynamic queue connect? When we think about restaurant queues, we usually think about time. We think the problem is simply that customers have to wait too long. But when we look deeper into the experience, we realize that a queue takes more than time. It takes away our freedom and it also takes away our control. When you are physically standing in a queue, you can't really go somewhere else without worrying that you will lose your place. You might want to walk around the mall, buy something, or simply sit somewhere more comfortable without just standing in a place, standing still, waiting for a place for you to eat. And because you stay, because you're afraid you missed your turn. And that's when waiting starts to feel frustrating. But we didn't want to assume that this was how everyone felt. So we spoke to the users. One of the things that stood out from our interviews was waiting time. Some users described waiting around 20 to 25 minutes for a table. But here's the important part. They still didn't know how much longer they had to wait. And that's what made the experience frustrating. It wasn't only the amount of time, it was the uncertainty. You don't know whether the table will be ready in 5 minutes or whether you will still be waiting another 20 minutes. And this leads us to our biggest insight. People don't necessarily hate waiting. They hate feeling trapped while they wait. Think about it. If someone told you your table will be ready in exactly 20 minutes and you can go anywhere you want until then, those 20 minutes might feel completely different. You could walk around, you could shop, you could do something useful with that time. So we realized that perhaps we shouldn't focus only on reducing the waiting time. We should focus on giving back people control of the waiting time. But, however, this created a contradiction. The restaurant needs customers to remain available when their table is ready. But customers want the freedom to move around while they're waiting. So if customers leave the queue, the restaurant might not know where they are. This is where we apply TRIZ. Instead of choosing one side of the contradiction, we look for a way to satisfy both needs. We explore 3 TRIZ principles: segmentation, local quality, and parameter change. The key idea was to separate the customer from the physical waiting space. In other words, the customer doesn't have to physically stay in the queue in order to keep their position. And that led us to a completely different question. Now, what if the queue could follow you? Instead of asking customers to stay in one physical location, what if their place in line could exist digitally? They could leave the physical queue but still remain in the same queue. And that's where our solution began. Now, I would like to tell you about our solution. Our solution is called a Dynamic Queue Connect. Dynamic Queue Connect is a digital queuing system designed to give customers freedom while they wait. Instead of physically standing outside a restaurant, customers can join the queue digitally. Their position in the queue is maintained through the system, so they don't have to stay physically in front of the restaurant. This changes the meaning of a queue. A queue is no longer a physical line that you have to stand in. It becomes something that you can carry with you digitally. Now, I would like to show you the dynamic Queue Connect prototype. So, from the picture, you can see that there's the name of the restaurant on top, which is the Envy restaurant. And you can see that you are the second person in the waiting queue, like you are the second in line. This makes it easier because you can see that I'm the second person, or I'm like the first person, or I'm like the fifth person. And what's best is that there was also a estimated waiting time, so that you will know that, okay, now I'm the second person in line and I only have to wait around 10 minutes. So let's say if in front of you have like 10 persons or something, and then the estimated time will be around maybe 30 minutes or 25 minutes, so that you know, oh, in this 25 minutes or 30 minutes, I don't have to just stand here. I can maybe go shop around or walk around, because if I'm afraid then it's my turn, then I will have to check the app. It's just that I can just see the app. I don't have to worry, or I don't have to worry that my place would be gone. Now, I would like to explain to you how it actually works. So basically, there will be a QR code placed outside the restaurant, or even on their counter or cashier. And then you just take out your phone and scan the QR code, and then they will automatically help you to start queuing. And then they will tell you like how many persons are in front of you and what is the estimated time you have to wait. And then you can see it as a live status updates, and you can just track it from your phone without standing in line. In this case, while you're waiting, you can just move everywhere freely without just sitting there waiting, or just standing in line feeling tiring or feeling like bored. So you can just go shop around and walk around. And then you can also pre-order your food from the QR code first, so that after, like later on, after you're finished shopping or finished doing something, you can just return, and then your food will be cooked or ready. And this is where our solution changes more than just the queue. It changes the customer's emotional journey. At the beginning, customers feel frustrating because they see a queue and don't know how long they will wait. Once they digitally check in and understand their position, they experience relief because they have more uncertainty. When they are allowed to leave the physical queue, they feel more empowered because they can decide how to use their time. And finally, when they return and are seated, the experience ends with satisfaction. So we aren't just necessarily removing the waiting time, we're changing the experience of waiting time. And also, the impact doesn't stop with the customer. For customers, the biggest benefits is freedom. They have less uncertainty and they can make better use of their waiting time. For restaurants, Dynamic Queue Connect can help reduce physical congestion and support better queue management and capacity visibility. And for the mall, fewer people need to crowd around restaurant entrances, which allows better customer flow and movement throughout the space. So this isn't simply a solution between a customer and a restaurant. It's a system connecting the customer, restaurant, and a mall. One small change to the queue that can affect the way the surrounding space is used. But we don't think this idea has to stop at restaurant queues. In the future, Dynamic Queue Connect could become smarter through predictive technology, helping restaurants better anticipate demand and waiting times. It could also connect with other services around a mall, making the customer's movement and experience more seamless. And this connects directly with SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Our solution supports this idea by making shared spaces more connected and efficient. Instead of having customers physically gathered around one restaurant entrance while they wait, they can move around the surrounding space more freely. So our idea isn't just about making restaurants more convenient, it's about thinking differently about how people move through and use shared space. Now, let's return to the question we started with. What if waiting didn't mean standing still? We started a simple frustration, standing in a restaurant queue. But by listening to users, identifying the contradiction and applying TRIZ, we realized that the real problem wasn't simply waiting. It was losing control of their time. Waiting doesn't have to be wasted time. Innovation isn't always about making things faster. Sometimes it's about giving people more control over the time they already have. And that's what Dynamic Queue Connect is designed to do. Give people back control of their time. Thank you for your attention.